You are listening to the Two Writers Walk Into a Bar podcast. In every episode, our goal is to help, inspire, and celebrate authors' journey to publication by reading and critiquing query letters, then tackle a writing topic we hope you find helpful. Hey, welcome back to Two Writers Walk Into a Bar. Hey, Ken.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, it's going okay. I know it's a crazy work day for you, but today's my day off. And
Lucky.
I'm tired. Well, I gotta go, but I work tomorrow, the rest of the
Yeah,
week. But
yeah.
but
I
today was
don't.
off. Okay, yeah, okay. Well, see, you're coming towards your days off. Nice. Okay.
Yeah,
First of all, how was your week? How are things
it was
for you
good.
this week? Yeah.
Yeah, it was chill. I got some pretty good writing done.
Nice. Oh, good.
I hit 50K in my current whip, and
Oh, great. Okay.
so yeah, it was good.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I didn't do a lot of writing. I'm still doing structuring in my current whip.
Mm.
So I think I'm at like 34,000 now. So I added a few, but not like, I'm just kind of going back, like I said, like I've talked about before, just kind of going back and making sure that I have, and there a few things of the story changed. So I had to go back and fix some of that stuff. But yeah,
Mm.
I know I should just go keep writing forward, but the story is changing. And so I feel like I want to go back and make those changes so that I can just plow into it. But
Fair enough.
yeah, other than that, though, I wouldn't say I had like a really good writing week per se.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't got to that 40,000 mark. I am reading. I'm reading The Blade Itself that you sent me, and then I'm also reading Twilight with my daughter. So I have
Nice.
two books that I'm like trying to
Hell yeah.
they're
That's
totally
awesome.
different. Like
Yeah.
completely different books,
Totally
but
different. Yeah.
but whatever, it's fine. It works. She's interested. I've been wanting to. She wants to see the movies, and I'm like, okay, well, we need to read the book first.
Oh hell yeah.
So making her do, like the old fashioned way.
That's awesome. That's how I like
Yes.
it.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and she's actually enjoying it. I will say that she's like, oh, I really like the book. She's like, I really like the story, and I'm like, oh yeah, you're gonna get so much more from the book. But
Oh hell yeah.
anyway, so what are you reading?
I'm still reading Shadow of the Gods by John
Okay.
Gwynn on my Kindle when I can sneak it at work or if I'm at appointments and stuff throughout the week.
Nice. Yeah.
And then I'm now listening to The Talisman by Stephen King and Peter Straub,
Oh, okay.
which
And
is
you've
kind of
not
a
heard not read
what's
that
that?
one yet, or
No, I had never read that one. It's been on my
really?
shelf forever since
Oh,
I was a
okay.
kid. It's been on the shelf and I just never got to it. And so now I'm
Yeah.
listening to that. And then I am just starting tonight. I was going to start reading The Ninth House by Lee Bardugo.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. Yes, I wanted to read that.
excited for that.
I haven't started that. She's got like the second or third book that just came out, I think,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
For that
The
series?
second one just came
Is
out,
it
I
this?
believe.
Okay, yeah. Oh yeah. I need to get my hands on that. Yeah, that's
I
I
know,
heard.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I heard good things. She's a good writer. I
Yeah.
loved um the duology, Six of Crows.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard that's great, but so
Oh, yeah, Six of
I
Crows.
can't
You
wait.
would love it, Ken. Actually, that's, like, really right up your alley, big time.
Oh, and look at who wrote
Oh, Stephen King. Oh, that's nice. God,
yeah,
that's really nice. Well, lucky her.
I know.
Uh, but anyway, what are you drinking? I'm just having my plain old beer I usually drink. Nice. Okay, Corona. Good. Very good. That's a
With
solid choice.
lime juice in there.
Oh, yeah, you have to. Well, cheers to that. So, guys, we do have a query um, that we're gonna go over. It was sent to us by Paige Kent, and she actually doesn't have any social media. So she said we can't really find her or follow her on social media, but we're going to give our critique on her query. And she did send her first few pages. And then we have a pretty fun topic. I think we have a fun topic that we're going to tackle when we're done. We're going to talk about villains today. So I'm going to go into it. I'm going to get into the query. So it says, Dear Agent, It says, I am writing to seek representation for my 93,000 word action slash adventure novel, Redacted. Nova Coleman's father disappeared 19 years ago, leaving behind a whole host of questions that only compound when she discovers he stashed a plane at an abandoned airport, and more baffling, written a letter begging her to find a mysterious island. Desperate for answers, Nova charts a course for the unknown. Crash landing at Asa Island, a decades old nuclear bunker, her world is turned on its axis when she collides with Kai, one of Asa's elusive pilots. Drawn to their crusade, Nova begins training with Kai and his second in command, Cass, to become a pilot herself. Her tireless pursuit for answers quickly turns into an examination of her own identity as Nova uncovers her family's horrific ties to the very creation of the island she now calls home. An upheaval of the corrupt executive suite is the only way forward, especially when the man she's falling in love with is the heir to the mantle, the highest power in all of Asa, and Kai has turned down his birthright. Nova must fight her way through the murky depths of introspection as she evaluates her obsessive connection to her long lost father and realizes it may be holding her back. The buried mantle would be enjoyed by the lovers of Project Hail Mary and Murtaugh, with a romance a la in the likely event. This is a standalone novel with serious potential. Thank you for your consideration, Paige Kent. So, thank you, Paige, for sending us your query. So I had a few things that kind of popped out at me at first. One of the things is you do not put your genre. So I don't know. I'm assuming it's adult. Um, but you never want. And the reason why I'm assuming it's adult because your character is 19. I'm guessing she's 19 because her father disappeared 19 years ago. But you kind of don't want the agent to guess or try to figure out the genre. You really want to put it out there. Just put it out there and say this is an adult action adventure. And I think that would call. I don't know if that's fantasy. Um, I don't know what you would call that. Action adventure novel. Um, I would try to put that in a genre of, I don't know, was it I don't know, can you think of another of an example? I'm
Um,
just trying to think of at the bookstores, do you see an action adventure or do you see fiction, mystery, young adult, horror, thrillers? I don't know if I remember seeing like an action adventure, but I could be wrong.
maybe, or maybe it falls into fantasy, sci-fi, thriller. But it
Right,
sounds like it's
again.
speculative. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely give it a name, because one of your comps is a sci-fi novel, so if, your comps wanna be in the same genre of your book, but the other comp, I believe, is a romance, I believe it's a contemporary romance. So you have a comp for a science fiction, adult science fiction, and a comp of adult contemporary romance. Um, so I don't know. I would either find out what your genre is, give it a name. If it is sci-fi, then go ahead and put that it's a 93,000 word adult sci-fi fictions, fantasy, I don't know, something. I would just give it a genre. And then the other thing something that kind of popped out at me, and maybe I don't know, Ken, maybe this didn't. It's just something I kind of snagged on a little bit. So she doesn't know anything about her father. He leaves this letter begging her to find a mysterious island, which you don't tell us what that if she knows what the island is. And then she just so happens to crash land on an island that's teaching her about her family. Um, and then you say that she's learns to become a pilot herself. So did she I mean, why would she I mean, I understand that she wants to find answers about her father 'cause she doesn't know him, but you don't just fly a plane if you don't know how to fly a plane. And maybe that's your reason to why she's crash landing, but I feel like I don't know if that's, believable, but maybe Ken has a different interpretation. I just was wondering, like, I don't know if I would go fly a plane if I wasn't a pilot to go find my dad, or maybe she enlists help from another pilot because you do say that she learns after she crashes on this island, she learns to become a pilot. So I don't know. I do question that, so I don't know if maybe you can explain that a little better or maybe just go ahead and have her maybe she's learned to fly planes because she wanted to get closer to her dad and then happens to find this letter, um, and then
Or
maybe something goes
against all odds, she takes the plane, like, not knowing how to do it, something along those
but,
lines.
then you're kind of running into that Mary Sue character, right? So, and she just happens to fly this plane, she's able to, get it up in the air and recharge something, I don't know, I just
Or
feel like
maybe she plays a bunch of, air what do they call those,
well,
simulation games?
either
I don't know.
way, I would say definitely maybe imply that in the query letter so that the agent, because it was something that I don't know, Ken, if you snagged, if you kind of stuck on that, but I did a
Yeah.
little bit because I was like, well, that's odd. Number one. And then two, oh, she's barely learning how to become a pilot. I mean, I don't know anything about planes. I wouldn't even know how to start one. I wouldn't know how to read any of the instruments. I wouldn't know how to get it off the ground. Um, I don't know, and if she happens to know that in some way, maybe just kind of put that she kind of taught herself or maybe took a few classes or I don't know, something.
Or if she knows how to fly, like, civilian aircraft, right, then differentiate on the second half and say learning to become a fighter pilot or learning to pilot, like, some whatever name you wanna call it, some higher, military style or
Yeah.
space. I don't know where this goes, but yeah,
Yeah, just something that just doesn't make it feel
differentiate. Yeah.
yeah, just something that doesn't make us feel like, wow, she actually was able to do it. Okay, yeah, she crashes, but honestly, like, I don't know. I feel like I would rework that. I would rework that. Um, and You don't have a hook. I didn't see a hook. And I know that agents really, really look for that hook. It's like a big deal that they're pushing right now. If you listen to other podcasts, if you listen to other agents on YouTube, they really do want a good hook because that hook helps them to sell your book to editors. It kind of helps them come up with a way for them to sell your book. And obviously, you want that. So, and if you've listened to our podcast before, we've talked about the hook and how to do a hook, but you basically it could be like one or two sentences, brief sentences of what your book is about, like that premise, that thing that's gonna get the agent to want to read it. So that's missing. So you don't have a hook, you don't have your genre, and then there's a confusion about her being able to fly the plane.
Her pilot
So
skills, yeah.
I or yes, her pilot skills. Yes. So I would maybe rework that a little bit. And you have enough words space here because this query letter is pretty short. Um, so and then again I would fix the comps because I just if it's science fiction, keep it. I have not read Project Hail Mary, but it looks like it could be a good comp. So, but it's a good comp if your book is science fiction, if that makes sense, because it's just lets the agent know like it fits in that genre, and your book would sit beside that book on the bookshelf. So that's just what they ask for. And I think the romance, like even though it's a contemporary romance, I think it's good because you do say with the romance that's in the likely event. Um, I haven't read that book either, so I'm assuming it's contemporary romance. So I'm sure the agent has and maybe would understand what you mean about that romance, if it's an enemies to lovers or if it's, friends to lovers or whatever. And then I don't know if you kept this off just for our sake, but in case you didn't, I would add a small biography at the very end. Why maybe you could put like why you wanted to write this book. I know some agents enjoy that. Is there something that I don't know. And you don't have to put a why. I mean, you don't always have to put a why, but if you have a reason why, that would be great if you could put that. Or just a little, if you have any writing things that, in the publications, magazines, anthologies, things like that, you would want to add that. And if not, then you just say, this is my debut novel. And a little thing like, you live in whatever state you live in, married, single, kids, dogs, whatever, just a little something about yourself. That just kind of helps the agent to understand you as a person too. Because when you take on an agent relationship, I mean, that is a relationship that you're going to have for a very long time. And you want to make sure that you have something in common or just gel with somebody. And that's just like a little insight into your person, to who you are. I did, so when she talks about let me see. Nova must fight her way through the murky depths of introspection as she evaluates her obsessive connection to her long lost father and realizes it may be holding her back. Holding her back from what? That was my question. Holding her back from a fulfilling relationship, a romance with the character Kai, I'm assuming, or Cass, because you have a couple people here. Or it's Kai, I believe. Yeah. So I would maybe rewrite that a little bit and make it because that's the stake. I think I'm feels like that's the stake that you're trying to do, but I don't know if that's strong enough without that little description at the end, holding her back from I don't know. Um, so that was a question that I had I thought was a little bit too vague, because we wanna know what those stakes are. What is it that is at stake for this character that she has to overcome? And so I feel like you kinda left that part out. Let me see. What else? I think, Ken, that's all I have. Do you have anything else you wanna add?
You pretty much nailed the things that jumped out at me, but I would say that I do like that first paragraph there. I thought it was really good and
Okay.
drew me in, and so I think you have something there for sure.
Yep.
Um, it's very intriguing that first, but like everything you nailed it. Like maybe a hook before it. The pilot thing jumped out at me for sure, and the vagueness at the end. So, but I would like to say I love that first little paragraph though. It's like intriguing. I want to kind of read more from it.
The premise sounds
So it's
really good.
really good, really well done, really well written.
Yeah, I
That,
just think the
that's
query letter needs just a little bit more, not
yeah,
so vague. Definitely spell out those stakes and make sure that the agent understands what's going to happen if she doesn't do this thing. Like what's the repercussions?
yeah, for sure.
Um, so yeah, so recap. Put your genre, what the genre is, um, if she's a pilot or not. If she already has piloting skills, I would mention that. Even if it's something minimal, just mention like, I don't know, whatever it is. I'm sure maybe you have it in your manuscript. It's just not showing up here. And then of course, depending on the genres, I would check to make sure those comps are right for your book. And then I would answer the stake because it just feels a little vague. So that's our recap. And then she did send in her first pages. So I first of all I want to say the writing on the first pages was fantastic. I really loved the writing. I You definitely pulled me in right away with your writing. I will say that. So the writing is great. I worry that your query might not get the agent to read those first few pages, and you want them to. So you want to make sure that you got this query cleaned up as much as possible and very clear and concise to what your story is about and the stakes. And then they'll read those first pages, and because these first pages are great. There was a few things that I did want to talk about, that I a couple questions that I had, at there's a scene. So to give a recap, basically we see her character Nova. She's in her dad's office and she's reading through his journals. Apparently he has written journals over the years. He basically went missing when she was a baby or when she was born or right after she was born, something like that. So she's never ever met her father. She knows nothing about her father. Her mom will not talk about her father and will kind of give her a vague answer like he's not dead, he's not missing, he's just gone. Like it's this weird thing, like it's a mystery. Like how why if he's gone, why is he not missing? Like that's what I thought. I'm like, okay, so obviously the mom clearly knows something. I feel like the mom knows more than what she's giving to Nova. But there was a few sentences. You say that she's sitting on her father's at the edge of her desk and she's swinging her feet. I don't know why, but that made me think of her as a younger character. You tell us later on she's 19, but I was getting the vibe of a very younger girl, like a young girl with that. Um, so I don't know. I mean, when I think about when I was 19, I don't know. I don't know if I would be sitting on the edge of, on top of a desk on the edge, swinging my feet. It sounds like a very childlike thing. Like my kids would have done that when they were 5 or something, or even 12. So I don't know. That was just something that jumped out at me, and it made me forget. It made me question for a minute. I was like, wait a minute, how old is this person again? Because and then also when the interaction with her mom did feel a little young, because towards the end of the pages that she sent us, um, her mom's boyfriend is coming over, and she's basically telling Nova, "This is a good guy. He'll be good for us." Basically, like just to welcome into their little family or whatever. Um, but the writing was good, but I will say that it felt like a younger character. Like I was reading about a younger character, almost young adult. But I'm guessing this is an adult book because she's 19. So I would maybe go back and reread that and see how you can age it up a little bit so that the reader, because I mean, for a second I was like, wait, how old is this person again? And I had to kind of like go back. And you don't really want to do that. You want them just to keep reading and keep going and keep going because you have a really interesting, those first pages are interesting. Her dad's not dead. He's not missing. He's gone. And any good reader is going to figure out, like, okay, so the mom definitely knows something more that she's not telling Nova. So all of that's great. So I would say great job on that. Writing was great. You pulled me in right away. I really enjoyed those first pages. Just a little bit, I felt like it was just a little young, but Ken might have a completely different interpretation.
No, I'm embarrassed because I was sitting on a desk at work today swinging my legs, and now
Were
I'm
you?
embarrassed. I
Don't
swear
be
to God.
embarrassed.
I'm 42. We were having a meeting in the office, and there was no seats, so
Oh
I
my
sat
god.
on the desk, and I was
Okay,
swinging my
well,
legs, and I'm like,
okay. Well, then you know what? Then I take that with a grain of salt, Paige. I personally wouldn't do something like that, but to each their own. If you
I
want to keep it that
sadly.
way, yeah. So if you want to keep it that way, then keep it. So I don't know. And if you send it out to beta readers, and none of your beta readers catch on to that, then you're fine. You're fine. That was just something that popped out to me. So now I see
No, you're
Ken as a
probably right, but
5-year-old
I did it.
sitting on a
Yes,
desk swinging his feet.
I was, and it felt good too. I liked it.
All right, Ken. All right. I'm not gonna say anything else, but that's it. But yes, Paige, thank you again for sending us your query and your first pages. We wish you all the luck in the world for getting an agent and getting published. And again, if you do get agented and published, please email us back. We'd love to welcome you back on the show and interview you about your process of getting your agent and, of course, the process of publication and your book. So, again, thank you for sending us that. That was really great. I really appreciate that.
Thanks.
And now I learned something new about Ken.
Yes.
That's fine. It's fine. All right, Ken.
Yeah.
So I was thinking today of when we talked about our Die Hard episode that we did a couple episodes back. Hey, writer friends. Querying is hard, and putting together a query letter is even harder. We want to help. Send us your query letter and first 3 pages to our email at twowriterinabar@gmail.com. And we'll read your query on air and give feedback on your first pages. And don't forget to tell us where we can find you on social media so we can share it with all our listeners. We want to help, inspire, and celebrate with you on your writing journey. We talked about one of the greatest, in our opinion,
Hans
villain.
Gruber.
Yes, Professor Snape as
Hans
Hans
Gruber.
Gruber.
Yes.
And I got to thinking about, I love a good villain. Like I've always, as long as back as I can remember, have been a villain supporter. Even as a kid, I don't know why, but I don't know. I guess like maybe I relate to them at some level. I had some bad shit happen to me in my life as I was growing up,
Yeah.
some really bad stuff at a very young age. So
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe like, and I mean, I will say like, I think the reason why we love villains is because we all have a dark side of us, but of course we don't give in to that, right?
Yes.
Like society norms, like we're not going to give into that. So when we see or when we read a villain or see a villain or watch a villain in a movie, being able to do these things without any care, it's just almost freeing in a way.
There is, yes. There's
Yes.
nobility in being a monster, but being able to control yourself. Being a badass and being able to control yourself.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And then just being able to see them like, okay, so here's what we're gonna do today. So I have a few villains of villains that I love that I just would like, oh my gosh, they pulled me in, love them. And then I also have a few villains that I just hated. Like they were just too evil for me. This is just my opinion, guys. Ken might have a different list or might have a different people that he thinks. So we're gonna go through why I chose the characters that I love. They are villains. And of course, I have to start with Darth Vader because I mean, Darth Vader is terrifying. I mean, really, if you think about the Force or what he does with his powers, his Sith powers, especially if you guys have watched the new Kenobi series on Disney Plus. Did you ever watch that? Have you watched that, Ken?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
Oh my god, you guys. Okay, spoiler. I'm sorry if you haven't watched Kenobi, but honestly, Star Wars fan, what are you doing? But anyway, there's this scene where they're trying to escape from on a plane, whatever. And Darth Vader just walks out there and he just grabs it, uses the force and just grabs it and pulls it back, tears it apart. Like it was just terrifying. I'm watching that going, what the heck? That's crazy. This man is terrifying. Okay. He is
Yeah.
a terrifying villain. But at the same time, he is so cool.
I know, I love him. I love his whole arc. Like the whole thing is one of the
Yes.
most beautiful arcs I've ever seen, read, heard, ever.
And,
It's beautiful.
the thing is, it's like, okay, yes, we love him, and, if you're a Star Wars fan, you started off with, I think is it 4, 5, and 6, okay,
Yeah.
which is Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. So we didn't get his backstory yet, but his presence, his voice, his power in those in that first movie and the second half part of the movie, she's just like, this guy is really cool.
Yeah,
you
he's
know,
so
and
badass.
he has no patience and he's just out here just choking people.
Yeah,
He
just
gets
choking
pissed off.
bitches
It's just
out.
like, but how many of us wanted to choke somebody that pissed you off?
Yeah,
And Darth Vader gets to do that, and everyone fears him, and they're terrified, and he does it, and you're just like, it's satisfying. It's a weird
yes.
way. And then, of course, when we find out that he's Luke and Leia's father, then we're like instantly, we're like, oh, wait a minute, he
Mhm.
has these two incredible kids that are good.
Yeah,
And then, of course, like Ken said, the whole arc at the end of Return of the Jedi when he saves Luke, and that moment when you're not sure if he's gonna save him or not, and he's looking back and forth, and you're like, "Oh my god, do the right thing, dude, like, do the right thing, finally, do the right thing," and then he does,
yeah,
and it costs him, right?
yeah.
So, I love Darth Vader for that, and I know I'm not alone in this, like, I know there's millions of people that love Vader
I
for
get a
those
little
reasons.
teary-eyed every time I see,
Oh,
that
yeah, Return of the
animated.
Jedi.
Yeah. Yep,
Well,
the kids
yeah, and
seeing the
then
feels.
yeah, of course. I mean, you're like, shit, he dies, essentially. He sacrificed himself for his son.
Yeah,
And then of course we get all his whole, his backstory, which I love.
me
I
too.
mean, I love it. I know a lot of people, it's kind of iffy with Star Wars fans, but I enjoyed it, whatever.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it.
Revenge
So
of the Sith might be the best movie of the
oh my
6.
god, yes, that's like my favorite. Oh my
Mine too.
god. I'm not gonna lie though, I do kind of skip part two.
Skip yeah, part 2 is
I
yeah.
mean, there's, like, the only good redeeming scene is when Yoda fights, oh my
S
god,
Darth
um,
Tyrannus.
s no, it's not Tyrannus, it's,
That's his name, it's
is it?
Count Dooku, yeah.
Yes, okay, yes, yes.
But his
That's,
his
like, the
Sith name is Darth Tyrannus, but
okay,
yeah,
so that's probably the best scene of that second
yeah.
movie.
I hated the whole love thing with the sand, and
Yeah.
it
That
wasn't
whole
good.
yeah, I tend to fast forward all that, but I do love,
Yeah.
but anyway, so yeah, so that's a villain that I love, okay? So I love Vader.
Oh,
For
yeah.
the reasons that Ken said too, it's his arc. I mean, honestly, that full arc of how he starts off bad and ends good. I mean, oh my god. Plus he's
Yeah,
just so cool. I mean,
yeah.
cool voice, cool outfit. He's got
Everything. He's the most
the whole
iconic villain of all time.
yeah, it's got the whole package, okay?
He does.
Um, so do you have a villain that you love
Well,
besides
yeah,
Vader?
but it's huge. It's, the Man in Black from the Dark Tower
Okay,
series.
yeah, okay, yeah.
Because the character is not just in the Dark Tower series.
Mhm,
He's the devil in The Stand. He's the evil wizard in Eyes of the Dragon by Stephen King.
mhm.
He's Randall Flagg. He's in everything, and I just love the dude because he's cast as this mysterious stranger, and he just keeps going between worlds. All of Stephen King's books. I don't even know the count. Like he's the bad guy in like 30 books or some shit.
So what is the one
25.
thing that he did that made you just, like, instantly like, "I like this guy"?
Just because Roland, the big one is I love him in everything, but the Eyes of the Dragon's a big one. But Roland, like the whole story starts with, uh, the Man in Black fled across the desert and the gunslinger followed, and
So you were immediately drawn
he's a
in?
match. Yeah, he's a perfect. It's the greatest open line in a book in ever, in
Mhm,
my opinion. But he's just mysterious. He's like a jokester, a trickster.
okay.
I love that about him. It's hard to explain. It's very I mean, that's as close as I can get that, like, he's not your typical bad guy, like, "Oh, I'm gonna destroy the whole world," and, he enjoys
Is there a
fucking with people.
backstory that so do I mean, like, do they give a backstory but did you like him before that backstory? Like Vader, like, I liked him before
Yes.
we got his
Yes.
backstory,
I
yeah,
liked him before,
okay,
yes.
yeah.
Just because he's so mysterious and creepy, and, like, when they go back, Roland spoiler, it's 1978 book, but, when Roland runs into Jake, which is the kid that comes through the portal from New York to his
Mhm.
world, to Midworld, and, just the way he describes, like, this weird man in a black cloak that just stared at him funny and, like, didn't talk to him and, like, kept chittering as he laughed at him. I just loved that, like, the
Okay.
creepy vibe of it. I have loved
Okay.
him ever since I read that
Alright.
part.
Okay, okay, alright. I'm
And
starting to
and
learn a little bit more.
he's just the ultimate fucking villain. He's in, like,
Okay.
so many Stephen King books under different names. Like, he's
Oh,
always
okay.
changing
Yeah.
his name.
I remember you telling me that, but then as the reader, you kinda catch on that it's the same character, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even though the characters in the books don't know, but the reader knows.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
really cool, actually, I love that. That's
Yeah,
really cool they did that.
yeah, I love it.
Alright, cool, okay, I get it. If you guys are with Ken on that character, and if you read that, definitely
Dark
leave a
Tower.
comment Dark Tower. Leave a comment on Instagram and tell us what it was that made you like him, what book it was, which one of the characters, whatever. Because 'cause we'd love to hear your guys' favorite villains as well. I'm sure you guys have some.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I my next villain that I love, okay, I will say that this character is based on the movies and the cartoons, not so much the comics. Because I don't read the comic books. I'm so sorry for any of you that read comics. I apologize. But I love the Joker from Batman. I've always loved the Joker. When Harley Quinn came on scene in the 90s, I was in high school and I immediately was drawn to her as well. I love that madness, the craziness. But what I love about the Joker is that he I feel like he loves that cat and mouse game that he has with Batman, and it's for some reason, it just kinda keeps him alive because he doesn't ever really I mean, and again, going off the movies and the cartoons, I can't remember if he actually ever really hurts Batman in the process. But I know that when he thinks Batman is dead, he's actually quite sad.
Yeah,
It gets really sad that Batman died or he thinks he's dead. And so, but I think what I love about the Joker is that he's always a little bit ahead of Batman, and I love how he always comes back. Like this guy has
mhm.
got more than 9 lives. And it's just to just mess with Batman. I don't know
Yeah,
why. It's just so funny to me because I mean, he just literally just wants to mess with him, just wants to fuck with him, literally. And then he gets away with it and he keeps coming back when Batman thinks he's done with the Joker, he comes back and it's like a soap opera that I used to watch back in the days where the villain dies, but somehow he always comes back to life.
oh, yeah.
And so I will say that I don't know, and then plus I just love the whole Joker. I think he's just his craziness, his madness, everything is just nuts, but he's smart at the
Yeah.
same time. That intelligence.
Oh, yeah.
I think if he was a dumbass, I'd probably be like, fuck this guy. Batman, take him down.
Yeah,
But he's not. So
that's awesome. Yeah, the Joker's cool.
yeah, the Joker. And I wish I could say that I read the comic book so I could have like a little deeper dive, but sadly I do not read the comic books. Are you a comic book reader?
No,
You're not. Okay. Okay.
nope,
So you're
I'm
right there
not.
with me.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't read comic books. I'm a classic book reader.
Yeah, not that there's anything wrong with reading
There's
comic books,
nothing
guys.
wrong with comic books.
Please don't misunderstand us. I think it's great. I've read a few graphic novels, but I haven't got into the DC and Marvel comics too much. I am one of those fans from the movies and TV shows and cartoons. So I
I've
apologize.
read one graphic novel. It was Brandon Sanderson's White Sand, which is one
Okay.
of his. And the Dark Tower, they have a huge. I haven't read it yet. They have a huge graphic novel series of the
Oh,
Dark
not.
Tower,
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
and I don't have it yet. So that's gonna happen this year.
Yeah. Okay. Good. That'll be good.
Yeah,
That'll be great. But you
yeah.
have to have it.
I have to. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Okay. And then I also have Loki. First of
Mm.
all, again, guys, I don't read the comics, but I love the movies. And Loki, since the very first Thor movie, I was instantly gravitated towards him. I mean, I love Thor, but Loki was just, I definitely could. I don't know. I'm sure it has to do with the actor that plays him, but you can definitely. I get the vibe of like there's sadness in Loki, and so a lot of what he does, and of course, as the movies progressed, we do get, and the TV show, if you watch the TV show on Disney Plus, we do get a little bit more insight into his character and the
Yeah.
hurt and things that he went through. And so I feel like, oh, does she need to go out?
No, she's just being a jerk.
Oh, no,
Huh,
don't
what are
say
you
that.
doing? Yes. He's barking at the kids, my nephews are running around
Okay.
outside.
No, that's fine. Just let us know if she's gotta go
Okay.
out.
Shh. It's okay.
She's
Alright.
fine. She's
She's
fine.
good.
But, yeah, so I think what I loved about, Loki too is that softer side. I mean, again, he does love Thor. I think, and he always at the end of the movies, he always comes around to the and sides with the ends up helping the good guys. He finally comes around and he sees that maybe he messed up, or maybe he sees where he can, snag another opportunity to fuck shit up again.
I've seen clips, yeah.
Okay, so you didn't watch the Avengers movies when they
I've
came
never
out?
watched a single Marvel movie ever.
Oh my god, okay.
Not
Any
my
reason
style.
really?
I'm not a huge fan, never have been.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, I
I've
didn't become a
I
fan till the
saw
movies came out.
I've seen Batman and, like, The Dark Knight. I
Yeah, The
saw
Dark Knight,
those.
yeah.
Um, I'm old, but I love the Christopher Reeve Superman
Okay, yeah. No,
from
those are
the
good.
'70s,
I loved oh man, I loved those as a kid. I watched them
and
all the time.
saw a couple Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans,
Okay, yeah,
but
yeah.
I've
It's not
never
your
been a
jam?
fan of that kind of fantasy.
Okay, alright, okay.
Yeah.
Well, do you have another villain that you love that you could, tell
Yes.
us? Okay.
Gustavo Fring.
Gustavo Fring
Yes.
from
Breaking Bad.
oh my
Gus.
god, yes. Oh, yes, oh my
I
god.
fucking love Giancarlo Stanton's Gustavo Fring. He's
Oh,
so
he's
calm.
fantastic. Oh my
Oh
god.
my god.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorites of all time.
Oh
You
my
love
god.
the guy. He's so stoic and, like, he does it so well. He puts up this front. He donates
Oh,
to the
he has, like, an air
DEA.
about him or something.
He does.
Yes. Yes.
He I love that character.
And I feel like you don't know how crazy he is, but
You
like,
know.
that he's fucking nuts, that he could get
To Yeah, to get
really
where he is, you know, but he's like he
done some shit.
but he puts on this air, like, when he's
Yeah.
working at Los Pollos Hermanos. You know, he's
He has great
smiling and
customer service
yes,
skills.
he's great and all this. You
Yep.
just know there's a monster behind that facade,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
love
I
it.
mean, honestly, I'd probably be a little terrified if I was a customer there.
Yeah. You
You're like,
just know.
"Something's off with this guy."
Y Yeah, but he plays it so well, like and he's such a smart villain too. I love that.
Yes,
Like, he donates to the DEA for, like, their softball league, and, like, he's a face of the c
because
you
he
know,
knows exactly, he knows how to play the game,
he's
like,
brilliant.
that society the game of society or whatever you wanna call it.
Yeah.
They wanna see you as this good person doing good deeds, but, what you do in the shadows is if they knew.
Yes, yeah, but he and Giancarlo Stanton, the guy that plays him, is amazing, and
Yes. Oh, yeah, I
I
loved him as
absolutely
the
love it.
mirror in, that one magic show.
Oh, I
He
don't
played the
know.
mirror. Oh, yeah, he was great, but, okay,
Sure.
so that's a great villain and a almost goes to, so I this is probably gonna sound crazy, but I loved Hannibal Lecter,
Of
I don't know
course
if
you
you
did.
saw Silence
No,
of the Lambs.
kidding.
I don't know why. I mean, like, well, I mean, if you've seen Silence of the Lambs, Anthony Hopkins, or Sir Anthony Hopkins, plays the villain. And again, he's so smart and so crazy. I mean, first of all, to eat people, I mean, you gotta be fucking nuts.
Yeah,
But you know what? He does it with style.
he does,
He really does it with style. I
he
mean,
does.
he's very classy about it.
He's very classy, for sure.
He loves classical music, for God's sakes.
Yeah,
I
and
mean, come
Farbor beans
on.
and a nice Chianti.
Yeah, it's hard to find a guy that listens to classical music. I mean, that's like, that's primo right there, okay? So,
Yeah.
and but what I love though is how, he helps or he's helping Clarice, but just enough. Like he doesn't really like he could probably tell her everything, but he just kind of helps her enough. But then plays mind games with her at the same time to
Oh,
fuck her
yeah.
up.
Yep.
Which, I mean, of course, he has to, he's a villain, but again, he does it so nicely.
Yeah, until he cuts off that guard's
The
face and puts
guy's
it on his
face.
own. But
Well, he has to escape, Ken. Come on.
you're right, you're right.
Come on.
Yeah,
How are you gonna get him out of a situation like that? You have to put on another man's face.
true,
So,
true.
that's what he did,
But
so
did he need to string him up into the corner of the cell
it's
like that?
art.
Oh,
It's
my
art
bad,
with
my bad.
the classical music. I mean, you're just not getting the vibe.
No, I'm playing devil's advocate. I
I
love
know.
Hannibal Lecter.
I know. No, I totally get it. But yeah, he's definitely one of my favorite, even though he's probably like the craziest one on my list. He's nuts. I know he's nuts. And I mean, he really is a villain. But I
Oh,
think
yeah,
honestly, it's just the way that Sir Anthony Hopkins plays him.
yeah,
Just I don't know, that just bringing him to life like that, and it's just like, okay, he's very intriguing. Like, I love watching those, shows where, like those crime shows, whatever,
mhm,
and serial killer shows, like, getting to the mind of a serial killer just really, like,
yes,
intrigues me.
yeah,
And so, for me, that's, Hannibal Lecter, but he would probably be doing reverse psychology on me, you know?
yes. I've always had this thing for serial killers where, like, I bought books about them and to read
Yep.
about them. They're so fascinating, always been
They
fascinating.
are fascinating. I know they're crazy. If you're listening to this, you're probably like, "These people are fucking crazy." And I
No,
don't no, and I wanna say it's I don't admire a serial
not at
killer,
all.
okay? Because what they're doing is evil. And we were joking earlier with the whole Hannibal
Yes,
Lecter thing, guys. I was joking. If you
yes.
didn't catch
It's
on,
disgusting. They're
uh
disgusting, but there's something
yes.
intriguing that could cause a human brain to turn to that.
Yes, exactly,
That's what
exactly.
we
Because
love.
my mind instantly thinks, "What is going on in there? What
Mhm.
happened for that to just progress to that
Yes,
to where you're, like, telling yourself you like the taste of human flesh?" Like,
yeah.
"No, dude, no."
Or Ed Gein making lamp shades out of his
Yes,
mom's
furniture
skin and
yeah, like
yeah,
crazy shit like that, yeah. So, yes, I do
yeah.
find them more intriguing, guys. I'm not a pro I don't support them in any
Well,
way, guys.
obviously, yeah.
So these are fictional villains that we're talking about?
My bad. Hey, Anthony what was it? Anthony Perkins played a fictionalized
Psycho,
version
yes.
of Ed Gein.
Oh, okay. You know what? I
That's
don't
what
think I
that
ever
character was based on.
Oh, okay, gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Okay, I never saw that. I'll
Yeah,
have to go check that out. But yeah, so he's definitely a favorite of mine because I do think that it's just he's just crazy how that whole like therapy counselor thing that he has going on with Clarice, but at the same time
yes,
we're like seeing this like crazy other side of him, it's just it's
yeah.
crazy. But
I love him too, yeah.
yeah, so he's definitely one that I enjoyed watching.
Yeah.
And my last one that I have a lot for my I just picked a few guys for my list for tonight, but the last villain that I love is Magneto from the X-Men. I don't know, Ken, you probably don't watch it. You probably didn't watch it because if you didn't watch
I saw one of them, I think.
okay. So Magneto is I mean, well, you know what X-Men is, right?
Yeah.
They are mutants. Okay, yeah.
I played the shit out of the game on Sega when I was a kid.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So I sometimes I can get behind a villain when they have a real reason. Like Magneto, he feels that mutants should rule over humans, right? Because he thinks they're superior,
Yeah.
but because also it has a lot to do with how they are treated in that world. They're treated as less than, they don't have like a lot of rights and things like that. So for Magneto and for him, he's just like we could take over these humans, guys. We are powerful. We have, we're strong. We can do it and have a better life for ourselves
Yeah.
as a cost of humans. But it makes sense because they're treated so poorly, So there really should be that. I mean, he's missing the message that there should be some sort of equal rights there. For
Yeah.
some reason, he's not getting that, but, again, he is a villain, so he is very selfish, just thinking about himself, but
Yeah.
but I can get behind Magneto for that fact that he's like, "Yes, I understand where he's coming from because, yes, they are treated poorly, and so it makes sense that he
Yeah.
would wanna rule over humans." Plus, he's
Yeah.
just so fucking cool.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, hello.
Oh, I used to watch the cartoons too when I was a kid, so, like,
Mhm,
I know all about
mhm.
Magneto and the X-Men and all
Yeah,
that stuff,
mhm,
so
yeah, yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, Magneto is, like, one that I love, so
yeah, no, you're right, he has great motivation, even though it's wrong, you can
you
kinda
get
see
it.
where he's coming from.
Right, like, you get it.
Yeah, for sure.
So, if we're talking about villains that you want your readers to love, right? Because your story should have an antagonist, that you should have an antagonist in your story. Someone that's just wants to make things terrible for your character.
Yeah.
Um, think about how the type of villain that you want to that you want your readers do you want your readers to fall in love with your villain? Are they going to have a redeeming arc, or are they going to have motivations that make sense or whatever? Um when I'm talking about Lee Bardugo's Six of Crows, I loved the thieves because they had real reasons and real issues and problems, even though they were like stealing and maiming and killing.
Yeah.
But you fell in love with them, and you couldn't help but fall in love with them, even though what they were doing was wrong, but you understood the motivation. So when we're talking about villains tonight, just think about and ask yourself, what kind of villain do you want to have in your story? Do you want your readers to love them, or do you want your readers to hate them? Which I have a list of characters that I just hate, hate, hate.
But you love
Nothing
to
they
hate.
would love to hate, whatever, but I hated them. I hated
Yes.
them, and I they got their when they got their just rewards, it felt so good because I was like, oh
Yes.
yes, they were assholes.
Because you love to hate them. Like, cause they have to be bad enough for you to be like, "God, I can't wait for them to get their comeuppance,"
Yes, and for me, my top was Professor Umbridge. Oh, I hate that bitch so much.
Oh,
Oh
me
my
too.
god. When I was reading the books, I was like, "This bitch better fucking die.
Yeah.
Something better happen to this bitch because she is so evil." I just hated her. I just hated her from the start. There was no redeeming quality. There was nothing good about her. She was trash.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But it was written so well that you hate her
Yes,
so much.
yes. I mean, yes, of
The
course,
pink,
obviously.
the cats, like,
Oh
the fake
god, this
fucking ugh.
like,
Yeah.
from the outside, she appeared I mean, her favorite color is pink, she liked kittens and shit,
Yes.
but damn, that woman was evil.
That was an evil bitch right
Man,
there.
I hated her so much, I was just
I
like
did too.
I remember just being so angry, just like, "Oh, I
Yeah.
can't wait for this bitch to just die."
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's my, number 1 villain that I love to hate.
Nice.
Uh, do you have any other ones that you wanna talk about?
Yes, Saruman from the Lord of the Rings trilogy. How the
Ah,
fuck can you
yes,
fuck with
yes.
Gandalf? I hate that cock turncoat son of a bitch. You're supposed to be the white of the white. You are the head motherfucker, and you turn on Gandalf.
Right.
Oh, you son of a bitch! I hate Saruman
Yes.
with a passion.
Yes, yes, I will say that oh god,
You
yeah.
fucked Gandalf over and everybody to throw it all away to join
To yeah.
with Sauron. Yeah,
Yes. I'm right there
bastards.
with you, dude, like,
Yeah,
totally right there with you.
who
Yeah,
can
that was
turn on Gandalf with his pipe smoking and his fucking rockets,
well,
fireworks?
what's crazy is that how he just didn't think that they could beat like, you really did think you could beat them? Beat him?
Yeah, for real.
Like, yeah, like,
It's more noble
what?
to die trying, you
It's
turncoat.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Exactly,
I
I
hate
agree.
Saruman. I hate
Yes.
him.
Yeah,
Bastard.
he was a coward. I
He
feel
was.
like he was just a coward, that's what he was.
Yeah.
But yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Alright, so my next one on my list is I don't know if you're a Disney fan of the
Yeah.
cartoons, okay, but I hated Scar.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I just hated Scar, okay, like, don't get me wrong, Jeremy Irons I love Jeremy Irons, the actor, and his voice, like, I was, like, excited that he voiced Scar, but other than that, no.
Yeah.
Scar was an asshole. He just wanted to be king and killed his brother for it. I
Yeah.
just was like, "No." Like, there was no like, his motivation, like, "That's it? That's why? No. No,
Yeah.
I don't like you. You're evil, and I don't like you," and I was glad when the hyenas turned against you.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
So, I don't know, I know it's like I know it's a cartoon, but I to me, when I was thinking about some of these villains, I thought, "You know what? Scar, he's right up there." Like, I really hated that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, Mufasa was, like, so amazing. It's Darth Vader.
Yeah. Yeah. He was.
So I'm gonna
Yeah.
hurry up. I have 2 more that I wanna go over.
Alright.
I'll go over them quickly because we're probably gonna, I don't know, hopefully my internet will last, whatever. But
Hopefully.
so yes, Thanos was the next one. But you know, wait, since you don't watch the Marvel
I've heard
movies, I don't
about
know if
him
I
though.
want to talk. Okay, but yeah, he's kind of like right up there with Thor. He just wanted to be supreme ruler for the glory, and that's it, and that's it. And so he was willing to wipe off half of the world for that. And it was just like
Yeah.
a lot of characters died because he wanted to be ruler, and it was like to him it was like a sacrifice that he was doing or whatever. It didn't make sense, and I hated him for it. And I was glad when things went awry for him.
I personally don't know anything about it, but I swear I heard that his motivation was overpopulation or something like that. Or they
Yeah,
always
but it's
make memes
like
about it.
yeah, but it's like he really just wanted to rule. He just wanted to be the
Oh,
ruler
okay.
and wanted to be like the guy. And so that's
I
why he
wouldn't
wanted.
know, so,
And plus he
yeah,
beat his daughters. He was a child
yeah,
abuser, so there's that.
yeah, yeah. Didn't know any about
He
that.
Yeah, he's a very mean, cruel person.
Yeah.
But my last villain that I love to hate is Regina George. I don't know if you've seen Mean Girls.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't Okay. Yeah, she was a bitch for no fucking reason. Okay? She
She
was
was.
just a bitch for no reason.
Yeah.
And when she got hit by the bus, man, I was really happy. And then that bitch
Yeah.
fucking lived.
Yeah.
She
Rachel
lived.
McAdams.
Like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Probably that was probably the worst part where I mean, like, talk about like a high her getting hit by a bus. You're like, yeah, finally, and then she fucking lives. You're like, damn, she was a
Yeah.
real bitch for that.
Yeah. For sure.
So, do you have any other villains that you want to talk about before we finish up here?
That I hate?
Yes.
Voldemort, maybe?
Oh yeah, Voldemort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a dick.
I mean, even when we got his backstory in the Half Blood Prince, which I love that whole part of the story, but still hated him.
Yes. I still
See.
hated him, yeah.
I still hated him.
He had
You
every
know.
opportunity, to, not go the way he went. Like, he got presented this opportunity to go to this magical school. He got presented he was head boy, like, he had all these fucking chances but no, he's
Yeah.
still a dick.
Yeah, I agree.
Fuck him.
I would definitely agree. So,
Same with
um,
Bellatrix, she can be lumped in with them.
yeah, Bellatrix, oh yeah, that crazy bitch. But
Yeah.
honestly though, not gonna lie, in the movies, I thought she was so cool.
Well, yeah, it's Helena Bonham Carter, she's amazing.
I was like, I mean, what I was like a little ashamed to say that because I hated Bellatrix. I hated book Bellatrix, but in the movie, I was like,
Yes.
she's so cool.
But did you not get excited when Molly fucked that bitch
Well,
up?
yes. I mean, even when I was reading the book, I was like, yes, finally,
There
but
you
I
go.
hated book Bellatrix though. In
Yeah.
the movie, I was kind of like, I
Well,
had to
yeah,
remind
but
myself
Helena
she
Bonham
killed her.
Carter's so likable.
Yes, yes.
It's
And
hard.
I think that was almost like in a weird way a miscast
Yeah.
because I love her and she's
Yes.
loved by many. We needed someone that
Yeah,
could just
she's
make us hate
amazing.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah.
So I do have one character that falls under both categories for me, and that's Cersei Lannister. Okay,
Mm.
so hear me out.
Yeah.
And of course, I haven't finished the book series, but I've watched the show, so I'm basing this on the show, whatever. But
Yeah.
and I know that she's just hated so much that when she would go to cons, no one would wait in line with her or get her autograph or anything. Then I mean, why? I don't know because I love that actress.
Oh,
She's
me too.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I remember when she played Sarah Connor in the TV series. I thought she was so cool. But anyway, I love and hate this character. I love because as a mom, I get it, right?
Yeah.
Like I get wanting to do things to help your children,
Yeah.
to get ahead,
Yeah.
especially in that world. That world is that they live in is crazy. Like obviously, you know, I don't know. I mean, I would never murder to help my child get ahead.
No.
But I understand Cersei for doing that in a weird way.
Yeah.
But then also hated her because she tortured so many beloved characters that I loved and
Yeah.
was just so cruel and mean. And that when she got the justice, it was like, okay, you know what? You deserved that because you
Yeah.
did a lot of really bad things.
Yes.
But she is one character that, kind of I have a love and a hate.
she got a pass. She got a little bit of a pass from me because when Jamie came to her in the show and was
Mhm.
like, you know, we gotta help them. This is about the living versus the dead in the show.
Right.
Um, but then they went to up to Winterfell and nobody died. Nobody I gave a fuck about died. So it was
Yeah.
pretty good. I guarantee in book that there's gonna be a lot of bodies at Winterfell from that
Oh,
fucking decision if that
I
goes that way.
yes, I think so too.
So
But
TV
yeah.
show Cersei gets a pass, but I'm
Well,
assuming if we ever get Winds of Winter, please, uh, then yeah, I think
it might be a different
Cersei.
story.
That bitch
Yeah.
is gonna get people I like and love.
Yeah.
So
Yes. Oh
yeah,
yeah, you know it, but yeah. But yeah, so that's my list and a few of Ken's. So if you're listening to this and you're writing about a villain or you have an antagonist, maybe think about some of these characters and the things that we talked about, why we love them and why we hated them, and then apply that to your antagonist in your story.
for sure.
I know that when I was looking at these, I was thinking of that in my own story and thinking, how do I want my villain to be perceived by the readers? Do I want them to love them or hate them? And then by going off of that, then I know how to write them,
Yeah,
how to make reader love them and how to make a reader hate them. If you think about these characters and the things that they did and the reasons why you hated them so much, and a lot of it has to go back to that motivation. And I think a lot of it has to go back with like in some of these characters, their past. You know, are they running from pain and because we all run from pain, we all have bad things that happen to us, right? And so we could all have been a villain, but you know, obviously we make different choices to be a better person.
yeah,
So you know, but anyway, it's just something to think about. This is our villains episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope that you were able to maybe learn a little bit or more about your antagonist and maybe help you in your
yeah,
current project. But other than that, if you have a query and you need some critique, feel free to send it to your query in your first 3 pages to our email. And our email is two writers in a bar at gmail.com, and you can just put query on air or query whatever, we'll get it. And also, Paige, if you're still listening, if you want to revise your query and send it again, you can send it back to us. We won't air the revise on air unless you want us to, but we can give you feedback in the email. So other than that, guys, we'll see you later. See you in a couple weeks.
yep.
Happy writing, happy reading. Bye.
Bye.
That's it for today's episode, friends. We hope you learned something new today. Please follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube under Two Writers Walk Into a Bar podcast. Our YouTube episodes will upload on Thursdays, the day after the show airs, if you want to watch. And if you want your query letter in first 3 pages critiqued and read on air by us, send them to our email at twowritersinabar@gmail.com. Put query on air in the subject line. We will read them on a first come, first served basis. Remember, we are here to help, inspire, and celebrate. Two Writers Walk Into a Bar podcast is produced by Brava Media Group.